Hey guys, so today I'm going to be installing a exhaust on my DRZ400 Supermoto. I opted to buy the full Yoshimura exhaust. It's the one with the carbon can instead of the aluminum one. I think it'll look better on the gray and black bike. The stock exhaust is way too quiet. If you have one of these, you know that's the way most bikes come from the factory today. And this bike definitely needs a little bit of, needs some brap. Let's just put it that way. So I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna install it. So if you got something similar, or even another exhaust, you can figure out how to do it. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing we need to do is remove these two bolts. One there by the seat, and one right here to remove this side fairing. It's probably an 8mm. I don't have anything smaller than a 10mm, so I'm using this 5/16. So remove these two bolts, and then we'll go on to the next step. Once you remove that fairing, you get access to that bolt right there. But before we remove that, we need to take off these two Allens so we can take the heat shield off and then get to the clamp that holds the header pipe to the mid pipe and the muffler. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'll show you guys how to remove that one down there. So once you remove that heat shield, you're going to come here and remove this clamp with that Allen key. Then we're going to come up here and remove that 12mm bolt. Then we're going to come hold the muffler probably somewhere around here and wiggle that loose from that connection. It should be pretty easy for it to come out unless it's been there for a long time. This is a brand new bike, so it should take 2 seconds to come off. And then we'll get to removing the header from the cylinder head. I was sitting here trying to figure out why I couldn't wiggle it loose, and there is one more bolt right here on the frame. You can see it's by the rear passenger peg. You got to remove that bolt or it's not going anywhere. Alright guys, so once you remove the muffler, just twist it off and it'll come off, muffler and mid pipe, one piece. We're going to come around and to remove the header pipe. And to do so, you have to remove two Allens, one there and one there. You don't have to take the radiator off, some people say you do, but as you can see there's plenty of room to reach both. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and then we'll get into installing the new one. So after you remove the header, after you remove those two Allen screws, the next thing to do is to mount up the header pipe on the Yoshimura. You want to lightly put them on. You want to leave a little wiggle so that way you can put the rest of the system on. So you route that up through there, barely tighten those. I reused the old gasket. You can get a new gasket if your bike has miles on it, but this bike has less than 100 miles on it, so the new gasket's obviously not used. I know they're crushed gaskets, but it'll be fine. Then you install the mid pipe onto the header. So you fish it through here and just slide it on. This system doesn't use clamps at all. It's a very nice system, very tight, very quality. As you can see, it's a very good system. I'm thoroughly impressed just installing it so far. So you slide that mid pipe onto there. Then you take the stock washer that is at this mounting point with the other screw that they give you and put that through there lightly so it'll hold that up. And then we slide the muffler on. This is a very good looking muffler. It looks great on the bike. Take that, slide it on, and then here there's a combination of factory and the screws and washers and spacers they give you. So what you want to do is obviously look at the instructions so you get a better look at it than I'm going to give you right now. But you're going to remove first this big rubber bushing that's in the stock chassis mounting point, and then you're going to use their bolt, their washer, their rubber piece that goes on the muffler right there, their insert that goes through there, their spacer, and then if we come on the back side, we use one of the factory washers and their nut. So it's a combination of factory stuff and the stuff they give you, and it works real well. After you do that, we're going to tighten up that, and tighten up the header bolts, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so I tightened everything up. It gives you torque specs in the instructions here. 18 foot-pounds for the chassis mount bolt and the muffler mount bolt, which is that one and that one. 18 foot-pounds if you're not mechanically inclined. It's very lightly tight, wrist tight. Let it stop where it gets tight and then give it a little bit more. Then we move on to the header nuts, which is 14.5 foot-pounds. 14.5 foot-pounds is not a lot at all. And pretty much you go until you stop and give it a tap, and that's about it. Those header bolts on any motorcycle are just meant to compress. They're not meant to be very tight. You can snap those easily, and you don't want to be trying to extract those out of the head. So very lightly tighten those, and they should be good to go. A couple other notes that I've seen other guys fail to mention is these springs holding the muffler onto the mid pipe. Other guys don't show how to install them. What you do is they give you this nice tool, and so we take this tool, wrap it around one end, pull, probably works better. Well, I'll show you guys. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it right now because I'm trying to hold the camera and do this. Oh, there we go. Slap it on there and you're good to go. That's all that's needed to put those on. So this tool comes in very handy. As you can see, they include everything, so that's very nice, and it makes the install very nice. Other than that, the next step is to install the heat shield using the supplied bolts onto there. It's not the factory heat shield. They give you a brand new one that is over here. So I'm going to install that next. So I installed the heat shield. It's just those two little screws. The last thing you want to do before you start it up is make sure everything's all nice and tight. It clears the chassis everywhere, that it's not touching anywhere it shouldn't be. And I've failed to see a lot of guys mention to wipe down the whole system with rubbing alcohol. This is common on any exhaust, whether it be a car or motorcycle, especially if it's stainless. You don't want to leave fingerprints. As you could see, you know, me putting it on here, fingerprints, just oily residue, this and that. You want to get that all off, because if you don't, as the exhaust warms up and it burns in, you're gonna see that stuff and you're never gonna get it off. So you definitely don't want to leave that on there. So I'm gonna wipe that all down with some rubbing alcohol, put the side cover back on, which is just those two bolts. Then I will fire it up, warm it up, and give you guys a sound clip. So I got her all warmed up. I went for a quick ride. It's got a really nice tone. It's loud, but it's not too loud. When you get on it, it gets pretty loud, but when you're just cruising around, it's not bothersome at all. It's really not bothersome either way. In truth, I wanted it a little bit louder, but probably as it breaks in a little bit more, it'll probably get a little bit louder. So let's start her up and see what she sounds like. So there's a quick sound clip so you can see what it sounds like. For the price you pay, I don't really think there's another system out there that's better looks-wise, sound-wise, performance-wise. I know some guys like the MRD ones better because they seem to get put down a little bit more power. Either way, it's not that big of a difference. It's all up to preference at that point, in my opinion. If the video helps you guys out, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and subscribe for more videos. I have two other ones on my channel right now, of the KTM headlight install and the Acerbis Supermoto front fender install, which is another welcome thing on this bike. Helps replace that ugly front end. And I'm going to have another video up tomorrow of the TST Industries integrated rear tail tidy delete, rear fender delete, whatever you want to call it. So feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.